Hello, fellow brothers and sisters. This is Sabata with the Equatorial Advocacy Foundation. I hope you people are doing fine. I'm the director for resource mobilization. Today, brothers and sisters, fellow Equatorians, I would like to share with you something very important. This fallacy of nationalism, brothers and sisters, in South Sudan, try not to put nationalism before everything. You are Equatorians first. This is very important because this fallacious concept of nationalism, which is not existent, and I'll one time do a show that specifically denies the idea that there is nationalism in South Sudan. It is almost impossible. And when I come to make that show, I will give details. But for now, I will not get to that. For now, I would just want to come and tell you, fellow brothers and sisters, that, this notion of holding ourselves as South Sudanese blindfolds with the Equatorians from seeing many realities that hit us so much, you see. And it is because of that that we have done our first mistake. And the first mistake that we have done, we, the Equatorians, fellow brothers and sisters, was that we fought alongside the SPLA revolution for the so-called claim of liberation. All right. Yes, the SPLA claimed that they wanted to liberate Sudan at the time. But honestly, as time went by, later on, we ended up voting in a referendum, South Sudan. It is because we, the people of Equatoria, thought that we are brothers and sisters inside the constituent of South Sudan. But the reality is now coming out very clear, brothers and sisters, that the SPLM organization simply fooled many South Sudanese in that it made us, we the Equatorians, to end up fighting against the regime of Nimeri, who has actually done so much for not only we the Equatorians, but the people of South Sudan. See, it is true that you will not see what you have that's good until you lose it, When you think back, when we had confrontation with the government or the regime of Nimeri through Anyanya 1, Nimeri gave us what was called the regional autonomy. Not because Anyanya 1 was very strong and at a point was giving the Nimeri regime a hard time. No, it was because Nimeri was generous and he really wanted peace in the country. So he, at the end of the day, gave the Southerners an autonomy, which is a very, very generous agreement, all right, in which the Southerners basically decided on what is called the destiny of their political future. However, it was the Southerners themselves who missed that chance, divided themselves, especially the politicians, into two camps, Lagu camp and that of Abel Alier, and every time and then Biyamshu Lenimeri, Bisowitu, Susa, De Made, and Fattan Finefisum Baram. Shufta Kef. Lahadi, Kokora, Jabu, and Ma Ishtagalat Zar. At the end of the day, when Nimeri dissolved the government of the regional autonomy, it was when he realized that the South Sudanese are not wise enough. They do not know how to manage themselves very well. But let me just give you some little hints here and there to realize how much Nimeri had tried to give with the South Sudanese. If you have noticed, every time and then when the revenue bitat Sudan gets generated, budget bitat South BMC, if there is any mismanagement or misappropriation of the funding or budget bitat South, it is by our southern politicians. When you look at our schools, Nimeri did not restrict Southerners if they want to study in English. You see, basically, there are government schools that were in Arabic, so the people of South really had the choice, you know. And many people, I am one of the people who ended up studying in schools that were taught in English. And fi minnum kaman fi Komboni hina, fi Usuratuna. There are so many schools that taught in English. There were many churches, you know, fi Junub Sudan hina, and yes, here and there fi Jamiat, because there are also a couple of Muslims here and there. And when you look at the culture of the people in South Sudan, basically we chose to live the way we wanted to live, you know. People smoked weed, people consumed alcohol, you know, and hajadel wa mamam nukan shufta kif, and people lived freely. Some people embraced to live like Jamaicans. Some people, I'm talking about the Rastafarians. People break dance, tanin, Aishinze, Congolese, you know, adapted the Rumba culture. And, you know, in the capital, Juba, you will find all those type of culture embraced and accepted. And people just lived freely, you know. And this is what the regime of the Nimeri at the time basically offered the South Sudanese, and we enjoyed life. Until 1983, when the con men came, that is SPLM, you know, came up with so many deceptive political words that, oh, you know what, we the South Sudanese do not have freedom. In 1983, I don't know how that is justifiable. We the South Sudanese, at that time, according to how Garang puts it, that there is an attempt to create what is called an Islamic Arab state. And that was because Torabi, who was the Attorney General at the time, lured Nimeri into implementation of Sharia at that time, even though it was not strictly implemented at the time. So that gave basis for John Garang to say, well, there is an attempt to create an Islamic Arab state, which if that was the intention, of course, because down the road, yes, it had been noticed that the constitution of the country of Sudan was basically based on the principles of Islam, and that justifies actually a creation of what is called an Islamic state. But what you might want to know is there was an exception that was given to the people of South. If you are in the Southern Territory, then you are exempted, okay? That application of the Sharia does not apply to you that much. But of course, that was not understood in that way by the South Sudanese, and people felt al-assassino there was suppression. And of course, SPLM was the machinery that was engineering that, okay? And there was heavy fighting, and people in the South were recruited, you know, into this war that they have properly not even understood, you know. And as time went by, what other thing has the SPLM lied to the people? That yes, we are fighting to give you freedom, all right? I don't know how that freedom was going to be brought in when SPLM was actually basically, well, they called that they were fighting for liberation. I really don't know what vision they had at the time. Talking of a new Sudan where people will just accept themselves as Sudanese, you know, at that time. And if you ask what then will Wahidna as Sudanese at the time, We know Gereng used to say Christianity will not, Islam will not, but Sudanism will unite us. But what is Sudanism? Okay, what is it by concept? Is it the liberal ideals where we needed to have an ideology around which we can come? Okay, and what is it? We in the South, we are a coalition of tribes. We all have our what is called our cultural principles, all right, that shaped our behavioral traits, okay, along those social groups that are called tribes. So what would have really united us as one, as the Sudanism that Gereng was talking about? And I think that those are some of the fallacious concepts that were placed that if anybody could justify, I'm going to make a show about this and let me hear the justification. But all in all, we the Equatorians ended up not seeing that that was a very cooperative regime at the time. We aligned ourselves with the SPLM, SPLA. We fought, okay, claiming that, oh, you know what, we are being oppressed and we are looking for a better condition of living. Here we are today. We are now in a situation where the regime of the SPLM, all right, has created a form of security where the people of Equatoria are basically afraid now to come out, Minsa Sita wala Saba, out of their homes. We hear that they, Humbibulu, they basically pee in cups or some containers, and that will be poured out in the morning hours out of fear that if somebody goes out, there could be harm, you see, and that is a result of a security that is created by the regime of the SPLM. Now tell me, what kind of pride do you get out of such kind of a living condition? We hear that unknown gunmen even go from sometimes knock at doors of people and pretty much sometimes kill, okay, individuals. I have a family relative, a gentleman who have lost a life just like that when he tried to help a neighbor who has been attacked, all right, and this is a security condition that this regime is bringing. I mean, how is this better than the one that Nimeri had offered to us? Okay, Nimeri basically took care of even tribal fights, the kind of tribal fights that we are seeing today. Sometimes Murle attacking the Launwer or Murle fighting with the youth of Dinka Bor. Nimeri took care of those kind of fights. He would send armies to disperse those kind of fights and try to get chiefs to be engaged in a way that people were calmed, and sometimes the ringleaders who initiate those kind of tribal fights sometimes get penalized through the legal system that existed at the time. So basically, if we have noticed how much Nimeri has offered in terms of governance and a very cooperative form of governance, really, Sorat Mayo, the revolution of May, offered so much to we, the South Sudanese, including the Equatorians. So there is no any reason why the Equatorians should actually align or come alongside with the SPLM, SPLA to fight with the Sorat Mayo, the May revolution of Nimeri, you see. But because of this fallacious notion that we are South Sudanese, we have been oppressed, we are not getting our rights. I don't know what kind of rights people are not getting, you know, when people are not really subjected so much to Sharia. And during those days, I remember when Sharia was actually implemented so much, that was during the regime of El Marghani, all right? That was after Abdurrahman Sawar al-Dahab gave well, he did not give. There was a process of course, election that had happened in the parliament, and Al-Marghani came in, and the prime minister was Sadiq al-Mahdi, and Sharia was implemented strictly. South Sudanese would go to the northern part of the country, and basically Sharia was not even implemented unto the Equatorians, all right? Well, not rather Equatorians, but even to the whole South Sudanese, because they would argue that they are Southerners and they should be exempted. Sometimes they will just be left, basically proving that they don't understand that when a law is getting applied to a particular territory, each and every person who is living in that territory is subjected to that law. I'm surprised South Sudanese are not doing this in America. How about those who are living in Iowa, Texas, in all these states in America? Why are you not arguing that this law should not be subjected unto you? You argued back then in Khartoum that Sharia shouldn't be implemented unto you. You see, the point I'm trying to make here is that you are given an exemption. You are living in the South, you are exempted from Sharia. You come to the North, Sharia will get applied. So basically there is nothing such as that your freedom has been taken away. No, SPLM simply lied to the people that, hey, you know what, your freedom has been taken away. But the actual people who are taking freedom away are the SPLM themselves. I'll call back. The actual people, give me a second. The actual people who are taking away people's freedoms are the SPLM party themselves. SPLM, from the time they came from the bush, they have not transfused into what is called people's government. Besides the fact that they have basically injected security that is too bad for the people of Equatoria. Right now in South Sudan, the people of Equatoria in their own territory around Juba hardly move around beyond 6 or 7. They get to be beaten, they get to be humiliated in front of their girlfriends or wives, you see, and they get robbed, their females get raped. All those kind of negative aspects of life are applied to the people of Equatoria by the security of what is called the SPLM regime. I really feel so hurt when I see the people of Equatoria sometimes hold the flag, of South Sudan. I feel so hurt because that flag belongs to SPLM actually. That flag belongs to SPLM, and it is the same flag that is now asserted that it is a national flag for the people of South Sudan. I feel so hurt, when I see Equatorians sometimes holding that flag, waving it, and sometimes singing. There is this song, Kulluna SPLM, it was sung when Kir came and made a speech on the last day of the national dialogue. I really felt so sorry, when I look at fellow Equatorians doing that. I just feel like, if I get that chance to speak to Equatorians, I want to tell the Equatorians that please don't fool yourself to that extent. And I know this is the fallacy of we are nationalists. You forget that you are now being targeted because you are from Equatoria, okay, and your loved ones are beaten up and down by the national security. Curfew gets applied not uniformly but strictly unto you, but others who speak, the native language of those who are predominantly in the security tend to walk. They move freely the whole night. Nothing happens to them. This is time, brothers and sisters Equatorians, for you to open your eyes, okay? SPLM has never given you any good life the same way the Sudanese is it Sudanese National Union, the party betanas Nimeri, and even after that, when we came through the presidency of Suara Dahab and then the presidency of Al-Marghani and Prime Minister Sadiq al-Mahdi, and then until the time of the al-Bashir Surat al-Inqaz, what we have seen that got applied unto the people of South Sudan is not to the extent that we are seeing today. So basically, it has become very clear that SPLM basically sprang up from nowhere, lied to the people of South Sudan, rallied them to fight, and throughout this fighting, ended up with a political settlement of a referendum, of which the people of South Sudan then voted South Sudan, and then later on they turned around to only favor particular community. Now, only particular community are benefiting from the resources of that country. Okay, you can imagine right now, you fellow Equatorians, you fought alongside SPLM. Do you think your children are going to school because our resources with that country? They now that you fought, if you fought for freedom, now you think you're free. Okay, you think you're free now. Are your children now going to school because of the resources of that country? No. Do you have any better healthcare system as opposed to that has been provided by during the Hakuma Bitat Nimeri? You don't have anything. Even throughout until the Hakuma Bitat Bashir, services in South has been provided better than the services of today. And imagine even security. Security was way better during those days than compared to today. All right. So basically, fellow Equatorians, the message I'm trying to give you here is this: the SPLM is your number one enemy. All right, SPLM is your number one enemy. They lied to you that you have not only Equatorians, South Sudanese, that you guys have not been treated well. You guys have been oppressed. Those are all lies. You want to know oppression? Oppression is what is happening right now. You know, historically, no revolutions are fought for the purpose of improving living conditions of people. All right, nobody would want to fight a revolution so that then they make conditions miserable. No, people fight revolutions so that they improve on conditions of people. All right, but it is only SPLM who have fought a revolution and then failed to build a state. And guess what? And by the way, not everybody is suffering right now. The money that belongs to the people, only particular group of people are enjoying it, and particular community. So basically, you guys have been misinformed, all right, that we should all go and fight. All right, this is a misinformation. Know that for fact, you Equatorians. Right now, you could mistakenly think that, oh, now, you know, we have Junub Sudan. This is our country. So let us hold onto that and live in pride with it. You will be foolish to think like that. All right? Because even Sudan was your country at that time. Okay? The most important thing in politics is what is called your living condition. Is your living condition good or bad? Right now, you Equatorians are migrating even from South Sudan, and now you guys are moving to the northern part of Uganda. What does that say about you? It will be foolish to continue thinking that, you know what, let that be tolerated because right now we have a country. What kind of a country are you talking about? First of all, what is called a country has what is called an imaginary borderline. Okay, those are things that exist in the mind. All right, it has what is called an imaginary borderline. If you go to South Sudan, you will not see a wall being built around, demarcated along that imaginary line, and the wall is fancy with flowers and no. There's nothing like that. These things are all in the mind. There is what is called just an imaginary territory, and then there are posts, authorities, and then those authorities function. And then those authorities function in a way either will make your living condition better, like your living condition in Australia, America, Canada, and some of the Western worlds, all right, or even some of the East African countries. That's why some of you people are migrating there. Or they will actually make your life miserable. like how SPLM is making people's life miserable. So SPLM basically are the enemies of the people of South Sudan. But of course, Equatorians, not all the South Sudanese will see that. All right? But it is time for you to open your eyes and realize that SPLM are your enemies. So stop waving their flag. All right? That is not the South Sudan flag. That is the SPLM flag. As a matter of fact, you should be supporting those guys who burned the flag some times back. I don't know why they are not coming out to burn some more of those flags, you see. So, brothers and sisters, forget about that flag. Forget about the current collusion that we are in, the political dispensation that we are in. Focus on yourself. Focus as Equatorians. Forget about nationalism. Nationalism never dig nowhere, all right? Focus on yourself. You have resources. And I told you this last time. I said, these guys, once they grab your resources, you will have nothing left. You will not get anything. Because time is coming when your resources is going to be captured by them. All right? I'm just using the word captured as though it's no longer in their hands. It is in their hands. It's just they have not yet thought of either using it, or it is because they have not found brokers who would come to them and say, well, there is a market of gold, you know, and you have enough. Let us start making some money out of it. Otherwise, those elites will make a lot of money and you guys will continue to migrate to the northern part of Uganda. This is not smart. So Equatorians, you need to reorient yourself. We need to start thinking different. You know, first of all, let's get ourselves organized. We in diaspora, let's make sure we unify ourselves very well, because at the end of the day, tomorrow, next tomorrow, we are going to need resources. We're going to need money for ourselves, all right? Once we collect this money, we need to start strengthening ourselves as far as what is called power structures are concerned. You know, kalambitat nationalism de bikhalik ita bifekir gali akhi, the power structure of the state will be the one to take care of you. And that is why I said earlier that ما تخلي نفسك تكون عايش في الوهم. There is nothing such as the power structure of the state will take care of you. No, you'll have to build your own power structures to take care of you. You see, that is why when you look at the other tribes, they have their own power structures. Musita white army, the power structures bitown, you know. Even this Dinka, they have their own power structures. And their power structures are right now getting used as the authority of the state. That is why you people are suffering security-wise. You need to build your own power structures, but you need to come together, you know. Hey, this is just a very short video that I would like to put for you guys out there. But I will come later, if not today, maybe tomorrow, in what is called the Equatorial Advocacy Foundation page, and I will discuss this in depth, all right? I will discuss this in depth and make it interactive so that we'll have people come in and then we'll talk, all right? And then we'll discuss back and forth. At this point, I also encourage that while we are putting this initiative, you should also support every operation out there that is launched to bring this regime to its failure. All right. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. Take care. Hey, until we meet again. This is just a very short and brief message to you. Stay blessed and remain vigilant and come together united. Thank you very much. God bless you.